All right, let's just start with something really simple. This, this is you. Now, I want you to trace your family tree back. Go way back. Past your grandparents, past folks in powdered wigs or chainmail, even past the time of mammoths. All the way back until you find one of your ancestors just squatting in the dirt trying to do one thing, not die before the sun goes down.
You know, every single person in that long, unbelievably fragile chain, they had to survive. I mean, think about it. If just one of them had tripped at the wrong second or, got eaten by something with big scary teeth, poof, you wouldn't be here. You just wouldn't exist. And that right there brings us to our topic for today. We're going to figure out the absolute worst time to be born.
And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? Your existence, it's not just some random luck. No way. It's the result of violent coincidence and just this incredibly stubborn biology, something that repeated itself over and over and over again through some of the most brutal moments in all of history. So it makes you wonder, right? How close did you, your entire ancestral line, come to being completely wiped out? Well, that's what we're going to find out. We are going to count down 5 of the deadliest, most terrifying periods in human history. And we're going from, well, just plain bad, to what seems almost certainly fatal. Okay, you ready? Let's dive in. All right, kicking things off at number 5 on our list of just awful times to be alive, we've got the frozen wasteland surviving the Ice Age. Yeah, around 20,000 years ago, during what they call the last glacial maximum, Earth was, well, it was not a fun place to be. We're talking massive ice sheets, some of them 2 miles thick, covering huge chunks of the planet. And the average temperature, it just plummeted. So let's imagine your daily to-do list back then, okay? It's pretty simple, really. Job number 1, don't freeze to death. Easy enough, right? Then you got to find food, which, by the way, means hunting something the size of a school bus, a 6-ton woolly mammoth, with what's basically just a pointy stick. Oh, and while you're doing that, you've got to avoid being hunted yourself by things like giant cave lions. And let's say you get a little cut, just a scratch, with no antibiotics, that could be it. Game over. It was just a brutal, relentless way to live. Okay, moving on. It gets worse. Coming in at number 4 is what we're calling the agricultural gamble. The dawn of farming. Now, hold on, this sounds like a good thing, right? I mean, progress. Around 10,000 years ago, we humans decided to stop chasing our dinner and, make it come to us. We settled down, planted crops, built villages. Sounds great. The only problem, in doing all that, we accidentally made life way harder for ourselves. And this comparison just lays it all out perfectly. Look, as a hunter-gatherer, your ancestors' diet was pretty great, varied, lots of protein, and since you were always moving, diseases had a hard time catching up. But as an early farmer, whoa, big change. Your diet suddenly became vitamin deficient, your teeth literally started to rot, and living all crammed together in villages, it meant epidemics could just rip through the population like wildfire. And the worst part? If one bad drought or a flood came along, your entire food supply for the year? Gone. Starvation was suddenly always knocking at the door. All right, we're climbing the ladder of historical horror. Our number 3 spot, this one is about pure man-made terror. We're talking about the Mongol storm, the invasions of the 13th century. Seriously, just try to imagine this. If you lived back then and saw a cloud of dust on the horizon, you had maybe 3 minutes to panic. Led by the legendary Genghis Khan, the Mongols carved out the largest land empire in history through nothing but sheer, unstoppable brutality. Their strategy was terrifyingly simple. Show up fast, hit incredibly hard, and leave absolutely nothing standing. And here's the thing that's so hard to wrap your head around: the sheer scale of the destruction. Historians figure that the Mongol invasions killed something like 10% of the entire world's population. I mean, let that sink in. 1 out of every 10 people on Earth. Entire cities weren't just conquered, they were wiped off the map, gone forever. At a time when our numbers were already so small, this was just a devastating blow to our species. But believe it or not, even that horror pales in comparison to what's coming in at our number 2 spot. This was a biological wildfire, the Black Death. In 1347, something new and terrifying swept across Europe. It was carried by fleas on rats, but it moved like an invisible fire. The bubonic plague was just terrifyingly efficient. You could get it from a handshake, from sharing a cup. Heck, you could get it just by breathing in the wrong air at the wrong time. Suddenly, survival was a complete lottery.
Just look at this. In only a few years, the plague wiped out up to half of the entire population of Europe. Think about that for a second. Imagine half the people you know, just gone. Every second person, gone. Entire villages were just empty. Economies completely collapsed. The world was gripped by a kind of fear that honestly must have felt like the end of days. And that brings us to number 1, the single worst time to be alive in all of human history. The moment we came the absolute closest to never existing at all. Because this wasn't a war, and it wasn't a disease. This was a planetary event. We're talking about humanity's near extinction, caused by the Toba supervolcano. About 74,000 years ago, this monster volcano in what's now Indonesia erupted. And this event, our number 1 worst time to be born, it came so close to just deleting our species from the face of the earth entirely. See, when Toba blew, it shot so much ash and debris into the sky that it literally blocked out the sun. And I don't mean for a day or even a week. We're talking for maybe 6 to 10 years. Global temperatures just crashed, plants died, animals starved, the entire world was plunged into a dark, frozen nightmare. And this is the most chilling fact of all. It's estimated that the total human population on the entire planet shrank to fewer than 3,000 people. 3,000 people. That's it. We were pushed to the absolute razor's edge of extinction. Think about this. Every single person alive today, you, me, everyone, we are all descendants of that tiny, impossibly desperate handful of survivors. And yet, they survived. They made it through a world with no sunlight. They were freezing. They were starving. There were no crops, no animals to hunt, and absolutely no reason to believe the sun would ever come back. And against all of those impossible odds, they endured. So the next time you're thinking about your own life, just remember this. You are the direct result of an unbroken chain of survivors. People who made it through ice ages, famines, plagues, and literal apocalypses. You are the miracle. You are the reason your ancestors fought off those mammoths and survived that volcano. Which, leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Every single generation faces its own set of seemingly impossible challenges. So the question is, what will our generation be remembered for surviving?